Welcome back to This Day in Irish History. I'm your host, Raymond Welsh. Before we dive into today's story, if you'd like to explore other significant events that happened on this day in Irish history, visit thisdayirishhistory.com. The link is in the episode description. Now, let's set sail to March 3rd, 1766, when four pirates met their fate at the Gallows in Dublin, executed for high seas murder and plundering. Their deaths were not just a spectacle of justice, but part of a larger crackdown on piracy in the Atlantic, as Britain sought to tighten its grip on maritime law and order. Piracy had long been a scourge of the seas, a lawless and brutal enterprise that disrupted trade routes, threatened merchants, and defied the rule of law. By the mid-18th century, the so-called Golden Age of piracy had ended, but rogue seafarers still prowled the waters, seeking fortune through violence and plunder. The British Empire, heavily reliant on maritime commerce, was determined to stamp out any remaining vestiges of piracy, imposing harsh punishments to deter those who dared defy its rule. The four men executed in Dublin on that fateful March day were among the last of their kind, captured after a spree of lawlessness on the high seas. Their trial had drawn considerable attention, with the public eager to hear tales of treachery, adventure, and justice. The details of their crimes were grim. They had been involved in acts of robbery, murder, and mutiny, striking terror into the hearts of sailors and merchants alike. While some pirates could inspire a certain degree of romanticism, these men were regarded as ruthless criminals who had brought misery and death in their wake. The executions were carried out with the customary severity of the time. Public hangings were not just a method of punishment, but a spectacle meant to send a message. Large crowds gathered to witness the grisly end of the pirates, their fates serving as a stark warning to anyone who might be tempted to follow in their footsteps. The gallows at Dublin's Gallows Hill were a grim reminder of the consequences of lawlessness on the seas. The British authorities used these executions as part of a broader effort to establish control over the Atlantic, reinforcing naval patrols, increasing surveillance, and strengthening maritime law. By the late 18th century, piracy had been largely eradicated from the waters around Ireland and Britain, giving way to a new era of structured naval dominance. Yet, the echoes of piracy never fully faded. The romanticized image of the pirate lived on in folklore, ballads, and literature, casting figures like these executed men in a different light. Their deaths marked the end of one chapter in Ireland's maritime history, but the stories of piracy, rebellion, and adventure at sea would continue to captivate imaginations for centuries to come. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Ireland's rich past. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, I'm Raymond Welsh. Slán go fóill.